press record. Okay, I'd like to introduce Paul. He is just amazing person. He is what is it? He's a transpersonal counselor, and he's very welcome to the podcast. And I'm very delighted to welcome him here. So, yes.
Yeah, first of all, I do all kinds of counseling, but transpersonal is kind of a subtitle that I use. I'm a doctoral level counselor, and I guess my overall specialty is like neurodivergent population. But I have become really interested in the paranormal and transpersonal kind of experiences pretty much since my teenage years.
I think that's incredible because I I um I crave on it. I
Yeah,
I I I watched some paranormal stuff as well, and I'm just blown away by everything at this very moment in time.
yeah. Now, I'm a member of IANDS. I guess you're familiar with IANDS. In
Yes.
fact, Jan Holden, the president of International IANDS, is the leader of our group here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I've been a member of IANDS for a long time. As you, I do a lot of work, with paranormal. And for a while, I was working with MUFON doing hypnosis, people who claim to have been abducted by UFOs.
Wow.
I've been to faith healings, been to fire walks, haunted houses. But near-death experiences, I think, are probably one of my most interesting topics because I have experienced some of them.
Okay. I
Now,
I I
go
think it's
ahead.
fascinating.
When I was a kid, we used to look at the ceiling at night when it was bedtime. The door was partially open. There was a light in the hallway, and I don't know in Ireland if you have what they call popcorn ceilings. They have the little bumps,
Yes.
and so I would stare at those in the evenings. It was almost like a flashlight, this round circle of light, looking at those bumps. And I'm looking at some now, and they would come closer and closer, and larger and larger. And then all of a sudden they would kind of disappear. And then I didn't know what that was. But then later, what we used to call, experiences where you're out of body, they would call it something else, back then.
Yes. I think the outer body experience, like I think when you talk about outer body experience, I think people can do that with deep meditation as well.
Yeah,
If
it
you're
used to, that remind, it used to be called astral projection
yes, yes,
back then.
yes, and,
Yeah,
and I hear of some people that can actually lift out of their bodies and actually go to a different part of
yeah,
the room.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and
So I get attracted to transpersonal psychology. We would get a lot of people come in with symptoms of anxiety and depression, you know, and then after talking to them a while, they feel more comfortable, and feel more trust, and then they start to open up and talk about some of their experiences. And so I think that having one myself, it kind of gives me more insight, you know, and since my experiences, they were I was very young. I was like 16. Gave me more empathy, to other people. And it's kind of like what they call now mirror neurons. I can almost see, what the other person, is seeing. And so I think it's helped me in that way. So the first experience I was in dental surgery. In fact, I've had two under dental surgery, and all of a sudden, they gave me the nitrous oxide, which I was supposed to remain awake, during the surgery, but I didn't. I had this experience where things were starting to spin, and I heard a voice telling me, "Good will always overcome evil," and it got faster and faster, and I heard a buzzing sound in my ears. And the second experience, also the buzzing sound in my ears. And so all of a sudden, I was in this black plane. It was almost like a parking lot, that flat, that color of tar. Okay. And so I'm floating in this darkness. Now, I don't know if you've ever had an experience like that, black is not the same as black, what we see, and it's kind of like, what's that saying? We're when we come back, we're using butterfly language to caterpillars. If you haven't been there, you really don't understand how that is. And so here I am floating, I don't feel my body. I don't even feel time, but it seems to be going very slowly. And all of a sudden I see this bright light that I'm floating towards. Okay. Now, this was before Raymond Moody's book on life after life. Okay, this was back in 1967. And I
Wow.
think his book came out early 70s or something like that. And so I'm going toward this bright light, feeling nothing, just this kind of feeling of excitement. And next thing, I'm sitting in this chair, and it's almost kind of like a throne. I feel the presence of people around me, feeling like accepted, kind of like excitement, like, I'm somebody, like I'm somebody special,
Yeah.
and that was kind of about the end of that one. Now, I noticed since then they did some dental surgery and they did some stitches on my gums. And I was supposed to go back in a week, and I went back in a week, and they were amazed. As, you're totally healed, you know. And so from that experience, I've had several surgeries for skin cancer, and the same thing happens in a matter of a day or two. I'm healed, I guess I'm a fast healer, whether it's attributed to that or not, but that was the first time I had that experience, that fast healing process.
Wow.
The second time, again, back in surgery, I again had that buzzing feeling. Now this one I see different. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this one, but this was prior to my birth. And I was in this black place and I heard voices, okay, which I think maybe like were angels, and they're like preparing, like if you're preparing for a birthday party or preparing for a birth, this kind of this urgency, and they're all happy and they're preparing. And then I'll suddenly see this fountain, okay, but it's a fountain of flower petals, beautiful, beautiful colors, hard to describe, And then the next thing I see this bright light again, okay, and all of a sudden I guess that was my birth at that time. This bright light, it kind of stayed with me, since then. And I have this sense that within me there's this bright blue-white light. Okay. And at times I can visualize it, coming from, the palms of my hand.
Yes.
Okay. And the only practical thing, now I'm kind of traditionally trained as a therapist, so I haven't done Reiki or anything like
Okay.
that. But the practical thing is there's not a can that I can't open. My wife brings me all these jars, there's not one that I can't. I focus on that bright blue light, and I'm able
Yeah.
to do that. There was a third time, I was a little older. Those first two, I was 16. I was with a group of mental health clients. We were Lake Whitney, okay? And this one guy brought a deck boat, okay? And we were going out in the deck boat. We came in, they anchored the boat, and all of a sudden it started drifting out in the water, okay? And so yeah, I was trained as a lifeguard many, many years before that. So I started swimming to this boat. Well, it started floating out in the deep water. Then I realized about halfway out, I'm going at the same rate of speed that the boat is going. Okay. And
Oh,
so
wow.
then, all these people on the shore, these clients, and I'm here and the boat's over there, and I go under, I go underwater. Okay. And again, it's very quiet, very peaceful. And I see the light again. And then I don't know if I heard the voice or not, but I know that I had to make a decision, whether to come back or not. And it was so peaceful down there, very calm. And like I said, the light was there. And I did make this decision to float back. So halfway across the lake, I made it back to shore. Now I swam on my back. I could do that, but the other swimming, I don't think I could do that. And so again, like I said, that this light kind of follows me, through my life. My stories are not real long. I've talked to clients that'll go on, like an hour, that kind of stuff. But since coming back, I realized that even after the first one, I have no fear of death. It's like I've been there, done that.
I
I
mean,
go to some of these meetings and they're quoting all these books, and I think books are good, but it's kind of like if you haven't had the experience, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like one time in my youth, would do skydiving. Okay. And you can read all the books you can about skydiving, but until you actually experience it's a different thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I got going here.
But I find it fascinating. I find all your stories very, very inspiring and very encouraging and very humble. And I wanted to ask, um, I mean, I'm blown away by your stories. And I mean, I could feel like, when you were telling your stories, you can see what's really, really happening. And I know, and I agree, you have to go through it before you
Yeah.
experience it. And I find it so fascinating that that you got to see things and you got to, you got a review. And like the review was, did you want to go back?
Right.
And the review was, you had a choice whether you wanted to go back or not. And I was going, whoa, that's just, I'm just going, whoa, my head is blown like this now because it's fascinating. It's not a fascinating, it's meaningful to you. And I think it's an amazing. I think it's incredible. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like I said, it gives me insight, and I talk to clients with a lot of situations like that that really don't understand it,
Yes.
and as a result of that, maybe some anxiety and some
Yeah.
depression, or maybe they talk about experiences, talking to Jesus or,
Mm.
seeing aliens, things like that. And coming from kind of a traditional background of therapy, a lot of these people would be labeled psychotic, because they're a therapist,
Okay.
and they're not. They're just trying to understand, trying to process, the experience.
Yeah.
And so when looking for that, is this person psychotic or not? You have to look at their history. Is this like a new event? You know, look at, the family history. Look at them as a person. How are they functioning at work? How are they functioning, with the family? But I guess I'm considered one of the woo-woo therapists out there. You
Yeah.
know, and even in our own field, you can't
Yeah.
talk to everybody,
Yeah.
about something like this. They just, they don't understand. And it took me a number of years before I would, share my experience. And then it was only with, like people like IANDS. I couldn't share it. I tried to share it with my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure.
It's
Maybe I made it up, but it's very real. It's
yeah.
almost like more real than reality, sometimes.
Yeah. I believe it is more real than reality, and
Yeah,
I believe that like people like sort of like are kind of brushing it off, saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah," whatever, and like you're really like standing your ground because it is true. What happened to you is true,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's so real.
I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, and it's not a made up thing. It's not like, oh yeah, you just go and then that's it. Like it's not. It's really real to people. And I mean, I think it needs to be more out there and more people need to be more aware of it as well at the same time, and not to brush it off as something that, oh God, they're mad or whatever. Like I think it needs to be really highlighted. That's what I think.
Yeah.
You
And at my age, I'm now 74. A
yeah,
lot of people are contemplating, the end of life, and a lot of people are very afraid of that,
right.
and I'm not, it's kind of like, I'm not willing to end my life,
No.
but I've lived my whole life to experience this. This is what I've been waiting for, for it to happen. And I know where I'm going. I know what it's like.
It's amazing. I still think it's a fantastic. I mean, I still think that you're doing a fantastic job with like, helping people and talking to them and encouraging them. And that's what you need. That's what people need. Um, a professional like you to talk to because you can bring it out of them, you can like, talk to them and make them comfortable and and that's what we need. That's what you need and that's what they need in their life. to
Yeah, I mean,
experience
you
that.
validate their experience. You don't just, dismiss them.
Yes, 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 yeah.
And
It,
while, everybody's experience is a little bit different, there's so many common experiences out there.
like what would be the most common experience is that people would experience
Well, I
in
think the floating sensation, the
okay.
bright light. Now,
Okay.
not everybody sees that, but a lot of people do. I didn't see figures, I didn't see Jesus, and I heard what I think I heard angels, but I didn't see them. And so a
Yeah.
lot of people have that experience. I think, oftentimes, they're given the choice, whether to stay or to go back, and go back, maybe there's a purpose. And I think my purpose was to, help people.
I think that was a fantastic purpose to have. I think it's really standing in your purpose and believing in what you can do for people to help people through near life experiences and to understand where they're coming from as well in life when other people don't understand them.
Right.
And I think that's fantastic. I think it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. Words can't express, but it is.
Yeah, and IANDS recognizes that, International Association of Near-Death Studies, and about a year and a half ago, they developed a directory of providers, that people that are recognized that will do that type of counseling, transpersonal counseling. And we've had a couple of meetings with all of those people. And so that was very refreshing to see other, professionals because it's not real common.
No, it's not. Is it like over in America? Is it big? Is it a big a profession or is it just like is it a small one and you tell your stories or is
Well, the people doing the counseling, I think it's very small. I think, there's a directory of us, but majority of the people don't do that. It's pretty much a subspecialty. I don't know anybody that's making the whole practice off, experiences like that.
yeah. I think still think it's a fantastic. I still think it's like a safe place for people to go and to tell
Right,
their story and they're listened to and they're heard
right.
and they're not like crazy or mad or anything like that like people would say sometimes people would go yeah whatever like but it sounds to me like it's a safe place to go for people to relax and just if they want to tell their story they can and then listen to other people's stories and relate some sort of relation will build up from them.
Yeah, we're not hallucinating, we're not delusional. And that's not to say that there's a percentage population who are, who are what they call psychotic.
Yeah,
But majority, I mean, I didn't even say majority, but many of the people they've had these experiences that just don't understand it and they need to talk
yeah,
it out.
yeah,
They need to process. They need to know that kind of their feelings are normal.
yeah,
And like you say, a safe place.
yeah. I think it is. It is. It's just like for people like sort of like to open up and like say it's okay and it's fine and it's it's fine if you don't want to talk. It's fine if you do want to talk and I think it's really really important for that to happen. Like I really do.
Yeah,
It's
like I said, the darkness, the black, and I've talked to other people. I said, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
yes,
It's
yes,
not like the color black.
yeah. It's and I think it's just you know for 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 people who experience near death experience, it's like sometimes they can experience really dark stuff. Like they can experience like I mean hell or they can
Yeah.
experience different sorts of universes or anything that or go through tunnel or anything like that. Like they'd experience that um and I think it's yeah it's to understand it more and maybe it's for them to understand like their side of it or what they experienced in their near death experience.
Yeah, we're getting a very similar story of what's happening here in the United States. There may be somebody in India that had an experience just like that, you know. Like I
Yeah.
said, mine was before the Moody book. And I've talked to other people, you know, preceding Moody's book, you know, that's had that experience. So, you know, there's so many commonality. There's got to be something about that.
Yeah. It is very interesting. And the Moody book, can you tell me more about the Moody book?
Well, he was a psychiatrist, and he had a lot of clients who, you know, talked about near-death experience, or people who actually experienced, you know, clinical death. You know, heart stopped beating, and in some cases, people minutes, some people, you know, longer than that. You
Yeah.
know, and then he was kind of recording, you know, uh, taking down notes on what these people were saying, and he found a lot of commonalities. You know, it's not, and that's why the book is life after life. You know, life continues. You know, I guess life becomes better, it becomes more enhanced, you know, after, you know, we shed this physical body, but
Yes.
our soul is, I think, you know, something different than that. We just happen to be in this body.
Yes. I think we have this body, and then when our soul like moves from our body, like it goes up to heaven, but our soul stays. Our bodies stay here because we're just given.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We were giving this body for like a purpose, or just to
Mhm.
experience it, to experience life.
Mhm.
And when we experience life, we have to go through like sort of challenges and disappointments, but we also go through like victories
Right.
and celebrations. And we have to. Our purpose probably is to learn from each other and to love each other as well, so that we can fill our hearts with love and care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, we talk about, you know, love, you know, that pure unconditional love.
Okay.
Uh-oh, I see my picture went away.
I see your picture.
Like somehow it intertwined with my Zoom for some reason. I'm
Oh,
not sure.
that's okay. It's okay.
Let's see. Get that back. There we
Okay,
go.
here you are. That's
Yeah.
very good. Ah, but I think there's so many things going around in my mind going, wow, and my head is going, wow, like this, because your story is just, I don't know how to describe it. It's so uplifting and so remarkable. I mean, I know I'm not exaggerating on it, but I mean, I don't know how to put the words out because
Yeah. Like I
it's,
said, you know, the
yeah,
pre-birth, I haven't heard stories, you know, about
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's it's incredible. I mean, um, it's just so incredible. And yeah, oh wow. And like it's sometimes it's for people it's a lot to take in because they get overwhelmed with what stories, what near death experiences as well. I think sometimes they get overwhelmed with how to deal with them, and if it was real or if it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just I yeah, it's mind blowing. I think your stories are pretty mind blowing
Yeah.
to
I'm
have.
having trouble getting my picture back.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's the
Oh,
distance or something.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
All
just
right.
it's okay. It's just your pictures is flashing, but it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very I just find it very uplifting, and very informative, and information. There's a lot of information as well, and I know there's different people who's different stories to tell, and your story is amazing. What and yeah, so and so how many near death experiences did you have?
Uh, that I've had,
Yes,
like I said, I think those three,
three.
you know,
Whoa.
I've had some other, you know, out of body experience, you know, like we call or astral projection, you know, where I was in an apartment one time in Killeen, and And I heard that buzzing sound again, and all of a sudden I'm floating outside the apartment in the parking lot. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I don't remember what all I did, but then I started, floating back. And at
Yes.
that time I felt kind of a pressure on my chest, buzzing sound returned, and I was awake. It wasn't dreaming. I was wide awake, when
Wow.
this thing happened.
That's incredible. And and when you were awake, did you like did you see or did you feel anything or was it just like you just were moving and you didn't know where you were moving to or
Well, it's a feeling of, awe, the feeling,
oh,
of amazement. It's like, if you were in this room and then all of a sudden you appeared in this room,
right. Yeah,
transporting it. And so it's a matter of like, time, space, and all of those things.
that's incredible. I mean, and did you feel that were you lighter or did you feel lighter and did you go into your body then again?
Yeah, I
Like,
went back in the body, but when I'm floating, I feel my presence. I don't feel my body, at
okay.
that point.
Wow. I think your stories are just it is an eye opener and it is very powerful. Your stories
Yeah.
are as
Well, like
well.
I said, I mean, the stories are short, but they've had
Yeah.
a profound influence, on my life.
Yeah. And that made you for that purpose for your purpose that made you help people with near death experiences because you're a counselor counseling you're a trans personal counselor as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh?
And I think that's like I never actually heard that word before, to be honest. Trans personal counseling. I never heard of that word before. I know maybe it's somewhere around somewhere, but I've never heard of it before. I think that's a new word for me to learn.
Yeah, well, it happened, I guess, a couple of centuries ago. One of the early American psychiatrists, William James, I think, maybe coined that term. And he had, he was a very scientific person. And back then, there wasn't a lot of information, about, paranormal, and he had an experience. Then another theorist, Carl Jung, talked a lot about the collective unconsciousness,
Yes,
that somehow it's like this river or this stream and we can tap into it,
yes,
and also tap into, the lives of other people,
yes,
and so it goes down there. I know a lot of people in our IANDS group, they're really into reincarnation.
yes,
I don't necessarily believe that. I think it's
right.
more like Carl Jung believed that there's this pool of collective unconsciousness, and we can, tap into it. Again, kind of emphasizing, the oneness. We're all part of
Yes,
this big oneness.
yes. I think that's it's incredible. I like the way you touched on Carl Jung. Um,
There's the psychiatrist Groff out in California, and he and his wife have done a lot of work with that.
wow. That's I think you have so much information and I think your three near death experience are have learned you so much and I think it's fantastic what you are doing for people and helping people and we need more like you in the world.
It's my passion. A lot of
Yeah.
people my age have retired years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. But still
But but
it's
I enjoy people. I enjoy human behavior.
it's very I think you're incredible for doing that because it is you have your passion there and that's incredible. It is. It is moving. It's very moving. It's very moving for me
Thank
to
thank
hear
you.
this. And
Yeah,
and I think I think you are an incredible person for doing what you're doing. And I think it's moved me. I think it's moved me and I think it's going to move everybody as well because I
yeah,
think I don't know. I'm probably stuck for words, stumbling over my words, but
yeah.
I really do appreciate it. I really, really appreciate your time.
I
And
appreciate the opportunity, to come in and share my experience.
thank you very much. And the time is now a bit running out. And I would like to, I'm so grateful for coming on, for you to come on here and share your experience because it's just incredible and what you are doing for people and helping people and I think that's incredible in itself and I think that's just you understanding people and how they feel, and that's just incredible as well as mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do. That's who I
Yes,
am.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I think that's very, very good. I think it's brilliant. So I'd like to leave it now, and I appreciate every story you told me.
All
So
right.
thank you very much.
All right. You have a pleasant day. I know
You
it's
too.
afternoon where you're at.
And a good what is it? Good night to you where you're at.
But not, no, it's about 10:33 here in Texas.
10:33. Wow. In the middle of the afternoon,
No, in daytime. It's before
daytime.
noon.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
before
okay.
noon. Yeah.
Brilliant. And I hope you have a great day.
All
And
right. You too. I appreciate it.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Good
Thank you.
luck.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.